This is Cuiabá, a city of 500,000 people and the capital of Brazil's new agricultural heartland. It is also the beginning of the most controversial road in Brazil, the BR-163. The Brazilian dictatorship built this road in the 1970s. Their intention was to populate the rainforest and exploit its resources under the slogan "Land without people, for people without land," ignoring the tens of thousands of indigenous Indians who were there already. But the road was never finished, and now, 30 years after it was started, President Lula has promised to finish the job. For about 6 hours, we're now 250 miles north of Cuiabá. About 30 years ago, this is where the Amazon rainforest would have started. Although there isn't any rainforest here anymore. You can see there's just acres and acres of farmland, maize, and especially soya. The soya boom has consolidated Brazil as an agricultural superpower. But the farmers live with huge logistical problems. Only the first 450 miles of the road is paved, so at present, the crops have to take a huge detour to get to their markets. Which is why soya farmers like Nelson Piccoli are campaigning for the road to be paved all the way to the Amazon River.
Que o Porto de Santarém é a saída mais viável para
the Port of Santarém is the most viable exit
Nós
for what we
estaremos
produce
agregando valor em
We're
cima
going
da
to be
nossa
adding to the value
cultura,
of what we
além
produce
de
between
que
5 to 6
tudo
reais
que
a
nós
bag.
precisamos
And
para
also
fazer a
everything we
cultura,
need
tudo
to
que nós
produce,
precisamos para
everything we need
plantar
to plant
essa
the soya,
soja,
most
que
of it
é
is
a
imported,
boa
and that
parte
will
é
also be
importado, também terá custo menor.
The rapid growth of soya in this region, half of which is exported to the EU, has been blamed as a principal cause of recent deforestation of the Amazon.
Nós aqui
Here we are being
estamos sendo
blamed by the
taxados
whole
pelo mundo
world,
inteiro,
even by our
até
own
pelas
government, who instead of
autoridades do
defending
nosso
us,
país,
instead of
que ao
saying
invés
we
de
generate
defender
wealth, blame
quem
us as
gera
destroyers.
riqueza ao
We did not
país,
destroy this region.
nos taxa
We
como
transformed it to
destruidores
agricultural
da
production.
natureza.
What you are seeing here
Nós não
is how we are
destruímos o norte
supporting the
do Mato
human
Grosso.
race.
Nós
You cannot survive
transformamos o
without
norte
eating
do Mato
food.
Grosso.
Soya may be feeding the world, but at a high cost to the environment. Where there are farms, industry and towns soon follow. 200 miles further north is Guarantã do Norte, a town first settled by wildcat gold miners. The gold rush is long over, but like contestants in Scrap Heap Challenge, locals have found another use for the mining pumps left behind. Guarantã has the last office of Brazil's Environmental Protection Agency for 400 miles. Marcio da Costa and his 4 staff are the frontline soldiers protecting the rainforest against illegal logging. It's a dangerous job.
Mas já aconteceu caso aqui na região em que
Once I was taking part in an operation and a lorry tried to run me over. I had to jump out the way,
caminhoneiro
but we
jogou
managed
o
to catch
caminhão em
him.
cima de mim.
Marcio shows me on a satellite map how development has in the past brought devastation.
Então, com a facilidade do asfalto, você vai ter a
paving,
tendência de
the
serem
tendency
abertas
is that you will have
novas
more
vicinais
deforestation.
e você ter o
It opens the
deflorestamento
possibility of
avançando
new side roads
nesse
being
sentido
opened
aqui
up
que é
and
onde
deforestation will move into the
hoje
more
está mais
preserved areas.
preservado.
These new side roads can be clearly seen from satellite imagery, where they have a distinctive fishbone pattern. Marcio's challenges are a lack of money and staff, an immense area to protect, but he says the biggest problem is one of attitude.
Né? Então, se encaravam como pessoas que eram desbravadores da região,
The people who came here
3, 4
came to conquer and
décadas
destroy
atrás,
land.
a economia
The
da
economy here is based
região
on wood and gold.
baseou-se
The
sempre na
cultural thing is
madeira
very
ou
strong
no ouro.
and needs to be ended.
Marcio has managed to find an unlikely ally in saving the rainforest, the timber industry. He took me to a local sawmill where he has persuaded the owner to replant the forest he has cut down with native species.
Período de chuvas, que é quando a gente tem um plantio aqui, né,
In
de
the rainy
dezembro
season, we grew
para cá,
40,000
foram
saplings and
produzidos
planted them.
aqui algo em torno
This
de
is still
40
the
mil
exception.
mudas
But if the
que
local
foram
businessmen want to
plantadas
have
na recuperação
continuity,
de matas
then they need to come
ciliares.
round to this way of thinking.
Marcio is the last environmental chief for 400 miles, just where the forest needs the most.
This is where the asphalt ends, right there. Now it's hundreds and hundreds of miles of dirt track to just before Santarém.
But even a dirt track is enough to attract Brazilians to live along it, each one dreaming of a piece of land to call their own. Tens of thousands live here, where they are able to raise cattle, farm and cut down trees, away from the eyes of the state. Towns have cropped up like Castelo dos Sonhos, or Castle of Dreams, although few dreams have been realised here. Especially for the poor, some of whom have been settled by the government on what are rather grandly called sustainable development projects.
Muito dificultosa aqui.
It's a very difficult life. The government doesn't help us.
Porque
They have abandoned us
que a
here.
estrada não...
Telmo lived in a town on the paved part of the road for 20 years before coming here in the hope of finding land.
A polícia sim,
He
eu
is waiting for
concordo.
the
Tem
government to
direito de
give
vir
him
aqui
this
dentro,
plot
se for.
and
Então
achieve his
aproveita na hora que
dream.
chove, eu...
Here he survives with no money, no water or electricity. So for him, paving the road is a matter of life and death.
Ah, com
The road
certeza
will change things for
muda
us
100%.
100%.
E se alguém
Here,
adoecer,
if someone gets ill and there is no one around to help,
se não
that
tiver
person will
vizinho
die
para
right
socorrer,
here.
a pessoa morre aqui dentro.
To President Lula, solving the social problem here is as important as the environmental problem. He has promised the poor land and support, even though, as I saw, nothing has yet been delivered. 100 miles further north is Novo Progresso, one of the fastest growing cattle centres in South America. Lula has promised to help the ranchers too.
10 anos atrás, em torno de 50.000 cabeças.
10 years ago we had
Hoje, 10
50,000
anos
head of
depois,
cattle.
aproximadamente
Now we have
1.000
about a
cabeças,
million.
de cabeças.
He argues that there's plenty of space for both farmers and forest. He claims that only 8% is deforested in this region and that the reserves are enormous.
Nós, por estarmos na Amazônia, que é a área, que é a região
Why
de
should
pouco
we in the Amazon,
desmate,
an area of
quase que
little
uma área
deforestation,
totalmente
almost
intacta
completely
na sua floresta,
intact, pay such a
que ela
high
tem que pagar
price
preço
just
tão
because
caro
other states in Brazil
em
and
função,
certainly
em
England
detrimento dos
destroyed
outros
their
estados
forests?
brasileiros terem
What we
destruído
want is
quase
the
todas
right
as
to have a
florestas.
little space
E
to
mesmo
work
pelo
and
próprio
produce.
planeta Terra.
Ranchers like José are not the only ones who feel that the behaviour of the developed world is hypocritical. Talk of rainforest campaigns got an angry reaction from one of my fellow passengers.
Quando existe alguns governantes que têm interesse de trazer esse benefício para a sociedade, vem as ONGs, as internacionais, você está entendendo? Prejudicar, pressionar.
Why don't they come bring us resources
Por que que elas não vêm,
help us
então,
develop the region with technology?
trazer benefício, recurso?
And as it started to rain, it soon became all too clear why paving the road is so fundamental. The lorry driver who caused this bottleneck was once stuck like this for 10 days. He told me that in the 8 years he has driven along the road, he has already seen the consequences of human activity.
Desde paisagem, animal, que antes você passava, você via
everything from the scenery to the wildlife. You used to see loads of animals on the side of the road. Now you don't see them anymore. If the paving ever happens, the rest of the Amazon could disappear bit by bit. With the paving, you'll be able to get everything out and it will be totally destroyed.
The last 200 miles took us 26 hours. Now we're going to get the boat. Here I got my first glimpse of the old Amazon. The river Tapajós runs parallel to the last section of the road. The inhabitants here are the Caboclos, the descendants of Indians mixed with settlers, whose colonization is much more harmonious with their surroundings. So I'm finally here in Santarém. It's been 73 travel hours since Cuiabá. The next day, I went to a conference about the future of the road. Among the hundreds of delegates was a local congressman who was cautiously optimistic about his government's plans.
Está assegurado espaço para os assentamentos.
We have made space for the poor communities, space for the landowners and for the reserves. All that is left is that the state needs to make sure that everyone's interests are met and there is no conflict. Because of Brazil's past mistakes, we are prisoners of an offensive politics by the international environmental lobby. Correcting this and looking to sustainability, we will no longer have to choose between total destruction or total preservation.
Devastação total ou preservação total. O futuro da Amazônia é a autossustentabilidade.
He makes it sound so straightforward. If only Brazilian history was not so full of false hopes.
O governo já fala em asfaltar a BR-163 faz 30 anos. E até hoje não conseguiu asfaltar. O governo fala em ter presença de Estado na Amazônia já faz 30 anos e até hoje não conseguiu realizar essa presença de Estado. Então o que nós temos aqui até o momento é uma política de ilusão, uma política de sonhos. Então se o governo não tiver clareza no que fazer, vai estar fadado ao caos essa região.
There was a lot of talk on the road that attitudes and practices are changing. But a quick look at the Santarém local paper and you wouldn't believe a word of it. On the front page, the discovery of a lot more illegal logging and the arrest for fraud of the ex-secretary of the State Environmental Agency. In Santarém, Cargill, the agribusiness multinational, has built a soya terminal on the banks of the Amazon, gambling that the road will eventually be built. The government is gambling too, that the paved road will not bring destruction, but ordered development. But the stakes could not be higher. If the project is done badly,